Hey guys, it's Jason, and today I'm going to be talking about hybrid cars, and more or less in the area of cars that run on batteries. Um, it's a great idea. We started off by saying it's phenomenal. The idea that we are culturally going towards a more reusable, more redundant, more environmentally friendly source of energy. So the idea of battery power, I think, is a great idea. But it only works in contrast with this. Some of the problems are right now are you'll notice that the batteries don't last very long, and to replace are really expensive, and it kind of brings a drawback to people when they're looking for a car. And then so you might say, well, right now there's a $7,500 tax credit, and by 2013 they're trying to get a $10,000 tax credit. The tax credit helps motivate people to want to get the car. The thing is that people don't really consider. First of all, the cars. There's not too many cars on the market. There's only like 3 or 4 models that really produce that hybrid or that pure 100% just battery type of car. First of all, the battery technology has to advance. The batteries don't last very long, and they just don't produce that much power. The first thing you have to do, you have to get battery power up. Battery power output and the increased ability and the stability of these. You want these things to last 10 years. The average American keeps their car 10 years. You want that battery to last for 10 years because the replacement battery is like, I think, 2,500 on most average cars. Not the car batteries I'm talking about, but the batteries, the cars that run on just the battery. Um, that's kind of expensive. That's a big chunk of change that insurance is going to pay for because it's not like a claim. So it's out of your pocket. And so you might get that $10,000 tax credit or the 7,500, but then 2 or 3 years down the road, you have to put a new battery in that costs $2,500, $5,000. Tax credit didn't do anything for you, and that tax credit was what motivated you to get that car. So therefore, that motivation is gone. So some predictions I'd like to see for the future, or some hopes I want to see for the future. I want to see like I said, battery power increase. Also, I want to see people look at battery power cars or hybrid cars in this manner. You're using when you get a regular car, you're using you're getting the oil, gas, not oil, but you're getting your gas and you're plugging it in your car, which is fossil fuels. You're directly using the fossil fuels for your engine to run. And people have this idea that if they're using a battery car, that it's environmentally friendly. And this is completely wrong because the thing is you're bringing that car home and you're plugging it in at your house. Well, where do you think this energy is coming from? Most energy that comes from your house is either natural gas, I believe, oil, or coal. In Ohio, it's mostly coal. And, I mean, it's kind of evil versus evil. I mean, you got the oil, and I don't mean that in like oil or anything's bad. I'm just meaning in the fact that if you're looking for an environmentally friendly car, you're pitting you're siding with one evil over another because you're plugging it into your house. You're just indirectly the power companies, using the fuel, which is either natural gas or coal to produce electricity to send to your house. So you're just, by second degree getting that energy. So it's kind of like the knowledgeable base. Like you're saying, well, okay, I'm not directly causing this oil to be used or gasoline. It doesn't really matter because you're still using it. So I see this in 2 steps. You have to replace the battery, not replace, but get a stronger, more efficient, longer lasting battery for these hybrid cars to take off. You have to make them the same baseline price of a car. You have to make it without tax credit because tax credits are nice, they help give incentive, but without tax credits, you have to say, okay, I can get this car or I can get this car. There's no tax credit on either. Why should I want this car over this car? The thing is gas prices wage up and down. Energy costs for electricity usually stay at a pretty steady rate, which is one advantage. Thing is in Ohio, the cost per kilowatt hour is 7 cents average. In, say, Hawaii, it's like 14 cents. So you have to compare, you're not going to see states where the power costs for homes are cheaper, that more electric cars will be used. But then if you get a mass movement to electric cars, you're going to have an anti-effect. Because what's going to happen is every home's going to have 2 cars charging up every night. So the price of electricity is going to go up. So you got to look at that too. So the only thing, and I think I can honestly say the best energy source right now is nuclear power. I see the disasters in Japan and everything, and they're very very bad. But pit it against any other energy source, and it wins 9 times out of 10. And I say this because you can use natural gas, you can use oil or coal, but you're using a natural resource, and you know, even though we're very good now at cleaning up and making sure not many pollutants get into the air, we still produce that pollutants, and and we're still just using resources that the Earth has, and so that's kind of not thing I want to see. And if you look on the other spectrum, the solar panels and the wind panels or the wind turbines, people say, oh, that's the way to go. Well, I had a science teacher tell me this, and he's a very smart guy, so I know he's right on this. And I looked it up. He was talking about how if the entire, all the territory in the United, not the territory, but all the property, I hate to say it this way because it's going to sound weird, because when I say property, you assume it's just government property. All the land that is under U.S. government control. I'll say that because even though you own your plot of land, the government, it's part of that government. So we'll say it that way. If you covered all with solar panels or wind turbines, whatever you want to use, it wouldn't produce enough electricity for America to survive on. So you got that you can't deal with. Nuclear power, very efficient, gives a lot of power off. America would need a lot of nuclear power plants to get going. And right now it's like a 14-year permit to try to get a nuclear power plant. Nuclear power, as of right now, I'll say this as of right now, is the cheapest, most reliable. Okay, it might not. It could be the cheapest depending on how we produce it. With the cost right now to run one, it's kind of expensive, so the price does vary. If you produce enough nuclear power plants in America, I guarantee you the cost per kilowatt hour. What if we could get the cost per kilowatt hour down to 1 cent per kilowatt hour, or 1/10 of a cent per kilowatt hour? Imagine this: 1 cent per kilowatt hour. That would be 70 times fold. Okay, 70 times fold, like reverse what the average Ohioan pays. So instead of paying 7 cents per kilowatt hour on average, you'd pay 0.01 cents, so 1/10 of a cent. And this would be amazing, because if this happened, then I have an incentive to go out and get an electric car. Electric costs are really cheap then. And I'm looking at it as, oh, well, I can spend da-da-da-da-da-da for gas prices, or I can know that my gas or my price will always cost this with a slowly steady increase over time. And that is what would get me to get a power car. I'm all for the environment. I'm all for saving the environment. But I have to look at prices too. I mean, I love the environment, but I got to look at the bottom line. So, and I am, turning. I'm already 16. I'll be getting my license May 28th, which I'm pretty excited about. So, this is an idea that I've been thinking about. The thing is with an electric car, it's a great idea. I love the idea. It's revolutionary, but you have to have the backup, and not backup in the conventional term of backup like the restore, but backup as in behind it, keeping it running. You have to, get the batteries. I guarantee you, the battery they can get the battery companies and researchers. They can get a better battery out there. They just have to have the funding to do it. And nuclear power, 5 years. If you cut the restrictions I gave you, in 5 years you can build nuclear power plants. Imagine if every state built 5 nuclear power plants. That'd be, oh my gosh, that'd be a lot of nuclear power plants. But, I think it'd be like, yeah, I'm not even going to do the math, but it'd be a lot of nuclear power plants. Easy math, I just don't want to do it. It would be pretty amazing. The cost would go down. It would make electric cars very popular. Very popular. To almost to the extent where regular cars would just be kind of dumped off to the side. No one would use them. So it doesn't matter if you're more liberal based and you're all for the environment. And I'm not saying everyone can be for the environment. Your political scale doesn't really matter. I hate when they try to use a political scale to determine, oh, you're for this or you're for that, because it's not usually truly accurate. So if you're, pro oil or gas or natural gas, or if you're pro wind turbines or solar energy, I think everyone can meet in the middle and say, let's go nuclear power. But here's an idea. What if this would be an amazing idea. What if the government said, well, it doesn't have to be government regulation, but what if everybody, but it'd probably be better if the government enforced it, and he said, everybody from this point on who wants to have a roof has to have their entire roof full of solar panels. The price of solar panels would drop dramatically. More people could use them, and guess what? Those solar panels would be on your house, producing power, storing in a battery that would either charge your car, run your electricity. So therefore, you have energy being produced at your house. You're using less energy from the grid. You're producing it on your own. So the people who want to go all natural, all having the solar panels and the wind turbines would be happy with that. They'd get their solar panels on all the roofs. You'd be using less energy. You'd be causing less natural, destruction, if you want to use that as a word. And the people on the other side that want to go to natural gas and everything, the prices are pretty expensive. And we could argue, we could say, okay, well, how about you move to the middle? I think most people that, agree with natural gas and oil and everything are okay with nuclear power plants. So you could say, well, okay, that's great. What if we can meet in the middle? We'll go, we'll put the solar panels on. We'll still keep some of the, oil and gas plants up for a while. We'll go with the nuclear power plants. We'll get those up and running while the oil and everything's on a steady decrease while we build up the nuclear power, and we'll start putting in solar panels and maybe wind turbines. Wind turbines, the profitability is kind of low. They need really windy areas, but solar panels work almost anywhere. So if that works, I think as a unit, as a ecosystem being all put together, all those effects would make hybrid cars amazing, and it would literally I don't even know what the word is because it sounds like a word, but I don't think it's a word, so I better not use it. But it would change the whole way we see cars. I would love in 30 years to have no option but an electric car. I'm not going all crazy saying, oh, well, we need this, and it's just. I'm giving it factual information. I'm saying, here's what we need to do to make this work, and I think we can do it. I think if everyone believes in this idea, we can take these ideas, these stepping stones, to make hybrid cars, and then eventually fully electric cars, the future, and make it so that we all live in a safer, cleaner environment. Thank you. Have a great day.